The doctrine of double effect is so titled because of the double effect that some actions can have. In other words, as stated above, some actions have two effects, a good effect and a bad effect. And when we refer to a good effect and a bad effect, we are talking about effects in terms of the intrinsic goods. So what we're saying is that sometimes I can take an action, and that action will simultaneously promote one of the intrinsic goods, but it will also violate one of the intrinsic goods. The example above demonstrates how this might be the case. If a woman is pregnant and she discovers that she has cancer of the uterus, she may be faced with the dilemma. She could treat the cancer. However, that would result in the death of the fetus, which would be violating human life. But of course, the positive effect of treating the cancer is saving her own human life. So on the one hand, there's a bad effect, the violation of the life of the fetus, and on the other hand, there's a good effect, the promotion of the life of the mother. And so naturally, we might ask the natural law theorist, well, what's the right thing to do in this kind of case? And in order to try to solve this, we refer to the doctrine of double effect. And essentially, this doctrine says that when you have the double effect, your action must meet four other conditions in order for that act to be morally permissible. If all four of these conditions of the doctrine of double effect are met, then it is morally permissible to perform that act, even though it will have one negative effect, even though it will violate one of the four goods. That would be justified if it promotes one of the four goods and it meets these other four conditions. So let's stick with this example of the mother who has cancer for a moment. And we'll go through the four conditions. So the first condition is called intrinsic permissibility. And essentially, this condition requires that the act itself be morally permissible, not considering the effects or the consequences of that act. So, for instance, we might say that the act that the pregnant mother is engaging in is an act of cancer treatment. Let's just say it's chemotherapy. And so in terms of intrinsic permissibility, we are asking, is chemotherapy, the act itself, morally permissible? Not the effects. Notice the effects of chemotherapy may be the death of the fetus. But we're not asking about that in this condition. We're asking about the act itself. The act itself must be morally permissible. And I think this condition is satisfied, at least in this example of the pregnant mother who has cancer. Receiving chemotherapy, generally we say, is morally permissible. There's no problems with that in general. The second condition is necessity. In other words, the bad effect must be necessary in order to achieve the good effect. The only way to save the life of the mother is to receive the cancer treatment, thereby killing the fetus. That's the only way to promote the life of the mother. So in that sense, if it's the only option, there's no other alternatives, we would say that the treatment is necessary. That act of accepting the cancer treatment is necessary, and so it would fulfill this condition. The third condition is non-intentionality. And essentially, this says that one cannot intend to cause the evil effect, and rather one must intend to create the good effect. So again, going back to our example, the intention of the mother in this case is not to terminate the life of the fetus. her direct intention is to save her own life. That is the purpose of her action. That is the reasoning behind her action, is to save her own life. As a side effect, an unintended side effect, by treating her cancer, the fetus will be killed. But that is not her intention, so she would meet the non-intentionality condition. And finally, the fourth condition is proportionality. And essentially, this says that the good that is caused by the good effect must be proportionate to the bad that is part of the bad effect. So, of course, the good effect here is the mother's life, and the bad effect is the fetus's life. And if we, for now, assume that all human life is equal, we would say that this condition is also met by this, in this specific case. These effects, the good effect and the bad effect, are proportionate. And we might even say that the life of the mother is worth more than the life of the fetus, because she's already, a person that's in the world, invested in society. And so maybe we could even say that it meets the proportionality condition in this way, that the mother is more valuable. The life of the mother as a good effect is more valuable, or outweighs the life of the fetus as the bad effect, the loss of that life. And so all four of these conditions are met in this specific case. And so we would say that it would be morally permissible for the mother in this specific case to have to receive the cancer treatment, even though it results in the destruction of human life. It also results in the promotion of human life. Now notice I'm saying in this specific case. This is not true of all cases. If even one of the conditions is not met in the doctrine of double effect, like for instance, if the proportionality condition is not met, and we say that one life is not worth as much as the life that's being destroyed, then we would say that maybe this person should not receive the cancer treatment, or that particular act would be wrong. So one thing to notice is that whether an act is right or wrong will depend on the particular specific situation. And the truth of the matter may differ from situation to situation, because the circumstances are different from situation to situation.